Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. There we go. Got it. Now, since we're moving backwards through the alphabet, filling up the new Overflow room with material from the old Overflow room, we are in the middle of Shostakovich, an endless quantity of Shostakovich. Here is today's clump of Shostakovich. And, some of it's just marvelous, I have to say. And some of it I've hung on to for reasons having nothing to do with its absolute musical worth. For example, there is this. Mravinsky doing Shostakovich 5 with the Leningrad Philharmonic, live recorded in Russia in 1984. Now, Mravinsky's Shostakovich is essential because he conducted the premiere of a lot of this stuff. And so there is Provenance. And the Leningrad Philharmonic under Mravinsky was, of course, a legendary ensemble. And, he didn't make studio recordings quite, or very few of them. There was like Tchaikovsky 4, 5, 6 and a few other things, but very little. So you had to catch him on the wing with coughing audiences and all of the quotidian mishaps attendant upon live performances. And in general, with Mravinsky, the earlier you can go in decent sound, the better off you are. So this is from 84. At the end, he really did start to slip. The orchestra's fabled discipline started to slip. It all slipped. And the sonics aren't great. And this was just not a great fifth, unfortunately. This one, however, is considerably better. This is from 1973, live in Tokyo. So you know that the audience is going to be deathly quiet. The sonics are going to be terrific. And they were all in much, much better shape in 73. This is on altus. That other one was Erato. And so this was from Japan, and I'm sure it's still around because they don't delete anything in Japan, or they run things through cycles and they keep coming back. So maybe that's there. And then we've got, we were just talking about Keith Jarrett doing the 24 Preludes and Fugues. Well, here's Tatiana Nikolaeva in her first recording of these things. Or it may have been her second, I don't know, but it's Melodia and it was stereo, and it's really better than her Hyperion remake. She was just in better shape technically, as a performer. And the sound is really good, and it's, Shostakovich wrote these pieces for her. So if you want to have Nikolaeva doing the Preludes and Fugues, this is the set that you have to get. There it is. One Melodia. We've talked about these. Number 12 with Yarvi, along with the Hamlet Suite and the Age of Gold Suite with the Gothenburg Symphony Orchestra. Now, I have the rest of them. They're over there. He had, 12, 13, 14, 15 he did on DG, and all the rest of them were on 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 were on DG, and the earlier ones were all on Chandos, which makes for a mixed mess. He should have done them all for Chandos. He never should have decamped to Deutsche Grammophon. Shame on you! Because Gothenburg is a fine orchestra, but they didn't have the weight and power of the Scottish National, nor did they have the advantage of Chandos sonics. So, it's good, but the 12th is the 12th, which is like, it needs to be played with totally insane abandon, and it doesn't quite come together there. These later ones were just not as good as the earlier ones, generally speaking, however good they were, and they were good. Shostakovich 11 with Pletnev and the Russian National Orchestra on pentatone. Well, I always confuse this one with the Lazarev one on Lynn, which is much better than this, by the way. Pletnev is such a cold conductor. He's either cold and emotionless or perverted, one or the other. And he's not that way as a pianist. As a pianist, he's just perverted. So, and it can be marvelous, but his conducting is nothing special here. Who are you kidding? Number 8. This was fun. This is number 8 with Berglund on pentatone with the Russian National Orchestra. I don't think pentatone ever finished this cycle. Berglund was, of course, a marvelous Shostakovich conductor. He made those wonderful recordings of symphonies 5, 7, and 10, and 6 and 11, all on EMI. And some of those are reference recordings. They are phenomenally wonderful. And number 8 here is quite good. It really is. Berglund is just a guy you should hear. He's an intensely musical and sane conductor with wonderful, wonderful instincts in most music, most of the time. Okay, the Shostakovich Complete String Quartets with the Fitzwilliam String Quartet. This is on Decca London, but this is not a Decca London release. This is a knockoff that was pressed by somebody else for something, and I don't know, was it Musical Heritage Society or I don't know. It was one of those like record club issues, but I had to get them because the Fitzwilliam Quartet Shostakovich cycle is absolutely splendid, and at the time, it was not available on CD. Go figure. Then, of course, Decca released it on CD, so it was available on CD. But at the time, it wasn't, and so I had this version sitting around, and I still kept it because I wanted it, kicking around. Let me see what it says anything about. Yes, it's... Oops. That's what happens with these multi-disc boxes. Fortunately, it fell playing side up. Yes, it fell playing side up, so we're not going to have a disaster. It is Musical Heritage Society. That's where this came from. I don't think I was ever a member of the Musical Heritage Society, but you could order their stuff, I think. In those days, you could just order things, maybe off their website or whatever. I don't know. I got it somehow. All right, Shostakovich 5. With Bernstein and the New York Philharmonic live, recorded in Tokyo, his second recording. Quite different from his first. Tempi are slower. The playing is quite good. The sonics are good. You also get the cello concerto with Yo-Yo Ma and Eugene Ormandy. Not a patch on Rostropovich. Who are we kidding? But it's good to have Ormandy and Philly still doing it when they were still around. And the Shostakovich Fifth, I prefer Bernstein's first version. Some have preferred the second for its greater weight and greater attention to Shostakovich's actual tempo indications in the finale. He decided to be a little bit less obviously razzle-dazzle and more equivocal. So that was something to consider. But it's a good performance and somewhat unnecessary. Oh, this is hot. Shostakovich 10 with Lutoslawski's Musique Funèbre with the Cleveland Orchestra and Dohnanyi. This is a great performance. I mean, we said it before, we need a Dohnanyi box on Decca. Hey, Decca! Especially all the Cleveland stuff. We've got to get Dohnanyi in a box. You could leave out all of his Mahler. That usually sucked. Actually, it all sucked for the most part. But this is just terrific. I mean, my goodness, it's wonderful. It's exciting. It's thrillingly played. It's just great. It really is. Film Music, Volume 3. Suite from Hamlet, The Unforgettable Year 1919, which I have 20 copies of on Marco Polo. The suite from 5 Days and 5 Nights, and the suite from The Young Guard. And here it all is with Martin Roscoe playing the piano in The Unforgettable Year 1919 with the BBC Philharmonic and Vasily Sinaisky, part of that very fine Chandos series. Oh, yeah. Galina Vishnevskaya and Rostropovich doing Mussorgsky's Songs and Dances of Death. Now, this is with Vishnevskaya, the Shostakovich's orchestration. There, I got it out. The orchestration by Shostakovich with the Gorky State Philharmonic under Rostropovich. Now, this was recorded. What were they doing in Gorky? If I'm not mistaken, according to Vishnevskaya's biography, Rostropovich was basically in internal exile. It was before he emigrated, and he was relegated to conducting and playing in the provinces with these terrible provincial orchestras, and he toured with his wife, and she did this to support him, and that's where they made this recording. Then we've got the Seven Romances to Poems by Alexander Bloch, first performance, first release with, oh my goodness, with Oistrakh, David Oistrakh, Rostropovich, it's for piano trio and voice. So you've got Oistrakh on violin, Rostropovich on cello, and Moisey Weinberg on piano. How's that for a trio? I mean, that's really cool. And the Satires, Romances by Sasha Chorny, which was like banned immediately when Shostakovich wrote it, with Vishnevskaya and Rostropovich. And then Prokofiev's 5 poems by Anna Akhmatova, with Rostropovich on the piano. This is a really important release. It's on BMG Melodia. So it's Russia live recordings from the 60s. Absolutely marvelous disc, an important disc. Oh, remember this one? Shostakovich 5th, Andrei Previn's first recording with the London Symphony for RCA in 1965. It's wonderful, with an incredibly slow and intense largo. He did not surpass this when he remade the Fifth in Chicago. He did not. No, no, no. And you've got Rachmaninoff's The Rock Fantasy, as well as the coupling. This is RCA Papillon, the Papillon collection of mid-price thingies. This, of course, is all now repackaged in the giant RCA Previn box, which, of course, is out of print, naturally. Then we've got one of these BBC Radio Classics things, which stopped existing a long time ago. You've got the Fifth Symphony, Shostakovich 5, with Stokowski, and the London Symphony, and then the first with the Royal Philharmonic and Horenstein. These were Carlton classics back in the day, and they're there. Shostakovich Fifth and the Ballet Suite from the Bolt with the Czech Philharmonic under Kazushi Ono. Now, these are not going to light any fires under anybody, I think, but they're good, solid performances, and I wanted it because I wanted to hear the modern Czech Philharmonic and glorious Canyon Classics sound. I mean, Ono is a good enough conductor. He's certainly better than Fedosiev or one of those people, and he plays the music quite effectively, and boy, the Czech Philharmonic sound good. Oh, that's nice. So there you have it, my friends, the latest batch of Shostakovich. Here, there's some really interesting things in here. I mean, if you were an avid Shostakovich collector over the past 20 years or so, between pirates and strange people in strange places doing things and smaller labels, and there just was this explosion of Shostakovich, and it was fun to collect this stuff. It really was. I mean, there's so much more that you can ever comfortably listen to, but the discoveries of, the preludes and fugues, all of the film music stuff, I mean, it just really kind of amazing. Live performances galore, archival stuff. Oh my goodness, it was a great time to be a Shostakovich collector. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me, and take care.